Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence, the podcast that helps you build the soft skills that lead to real results. Communication, storytelling, public speaking, and showing up with confidence in every conversation that counts. I'm Tim Newman, a recovering college professor turned communication coach, and I'm thrilled to guide you on a journey to becoming a powerful communicator. Today, I want to talk about the importance of the 30-second introduction and some strategies to help make yours memorable in a good way. I once heard a university president ask someone to tell them about themselves. She wasn't prepared, and she said, "I've always wanted to steal a Tasty Cake truck." Now that was memorable, but not the way we want to be remembered. And what if everything you know about introductions is wrong? The standard, "Hi, I'm Tim from Speaking with Confidence" script gets ignored more often than you think. Princeton researchers found that our brains form first impressions in a fraction of a second, long before you finish your opening line. In fact, 69% of people form an opinion about you before you even speak. And that means most basic introductions become background noise. Without an emotional hook, your name and title are forgotten almost instantly. Let's see what happens when a typical introduction misses the mark and fails to spark any real interest. Think about a typical introduction. "Hi, I'm Sarah. I work in marketing at X Corp. I've been there 3 years. My team handles digital campaigns. It's nice to meet you." It's familiar, but it rarely lands. In most settings, this kind of intro fades into the background almost instantly. People's attentions drift, and the conversation stalls before it even starts. And research shows that we form opinions about someone in less than 30 seconds. So if your introduction doesn't stand out right away, it's quickly forgotten. And the problem isn't just the words, it's the lack of impact. Our brains prioritize information that feels important, useful, or emotional. And when someone simply lists their job title or tenure, it doesn't register as relevant or memorable. But if you shift your wording and say, "I help companies save millions by cutting ad waste," you immediately offer value. And that's the kind of statement that grabs attention because it suggests a clear benefit. And the difference here is subtle, but it's powerful. And instead of background noise, you become someone worth listening to. The first moments of an introduction matter most because of what's called the primacy effect. And what you say at the start carries far more weight than anything that follows. So if you open with, "I've been in HR for 10 years, you risk getting filed under generic professional. But if you say, "I've stopped a dozen wrongful termination lawsuits by retraining managers," you become memorable and spark curiosity. The shift from generic to specific, from job description to impact, is what makes people lean in. Nonverbal cues play a huge role as well. With up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. So posture, eye contact, and especially your smile all shape first impressions. A genuine smile can instantly convey warmth and trustworthiness, while a lack of facial expression can create distance. People also notice clothing and color, where red signals status and black suggests confidence. These details matter because judgments form quickly, often within the first moments of the meeting. And what you say and how you say it both count. Speaking in a flat, monotone voice causes people to lose interest, but adding energy and emphasizing action verbs keeps their attention. The most effective introductions are concise, about 30 seconds, giving enough time to include a hook, a clear value statement, and something that invites further conversation. Overloading your intro with too many details or reciting a mini resume only dilutes your message. The real mistake is making your introduction forgettable. "I build apps" doesn't stick. But "I built an app that cut ER wait times in half" creates a reason to ask for more. Tone, word choice, and body language all work together to make a strong first impression. When you focus on what matters most in those first 30 seconds, you set the stage for a real connection. So how do you structure an introduction that consistently works? There's a simple framework that brings all these elements together and helps you make every second count. The confident connection formula is designed to help you make a strong first impression every time. And this helps break your introduction into 3 essential parts: a hook, a value statement, and a conversation starter. Each element plays a specific role in making your introduction concise, memorable, and relevant to the context. First, start with a hook. This is your opening line. It's meant to catch attention and pull people out of autopilot. Instead of saying, "I'm Alex, a financial advisor," you might say, "I protect families from retirement disasters." This approach works because it highlights what's at stake or uses contrast to make your role stand out. A hook can also be a personal detail or a surprising fact, such as, "I turned my fear of public speaking into a career training executives," or "My team found that many small businesses misclassify employees." People remember details that surprise them or draw a clear picture. Next is the value statement. And this is where you make it clear what you actually do and why it matters, focusing on outcomes rather than job titles. Rather than saying, "I teach elementary school," you could say, "I create reading programs that move struggling students up 2 grade levels in 12 weeks. And this tells your listener not just what you do, but the real-world impact of your work. The value statement addresses the question of why anyone should care about your role. Research shows that early impact is powerful. 30% of interviewers decide within the first 5 minutes if someone is a good fit. So communicating your value quickly matters. And the third element is the conversation starter. Instead of closing with a generic "It's nice to meet you," end with a question or prompt that invites further discussion. For example, "I'm curious, what's been your biggest marketing challenge this quarter?" Or for an accountant, "What's one expense category that always surprises your clients?" A good conversation starter opens a loop and encourages engagement. Timing is important. Aim for about 10 seconds for your hook, 15 seconds for your value statement, and 5 seconds for your conversation starter. At a natural speaking pace, this structure fits easily within 30 seconds. The primacy effect means that what you say first shapes how you're remembered, so put your strongest points up front. Delivery also plays a key role. Use vocal modulation. Change your pitch and volume to add emphasis and show enthusiasm. Emphasizing action verbs like solve, improve, or lead makes your statement stronger. And with strategic pauses after key points allows your message to land. Body language matters too. Stand with an open posture, make eye contact, and smile. In fact, 82% of people associate a genuine smile with confidence during first impressions. And here's how this framework works in practice. Let's take healthcare, for example. I reduce ER wait times by streaming patient data to ambulances. My system cuts door-to-door time by 22 minutes. What's the biggest patient flow issue you've seen? Or take tech. I debug code that handles 5 million daily transactions. Last month, I stopped $480,000 in fraud. How does your team tackle security updates? Each example starts with a hook, highlights value, and ends with a prompt for conversation. Understanding this framework is only the first step. To see how it works in real situations, let's look at some common introductions and how they transform when you apply these principles. Consider a real-world example from a networking event. "Hi, I'm Mark. I'm a sales manager at Thompson Industries. We sell industrial equipment. I've been there 8 years. It's nice to meet you." While Mark's introduction is factual, it doesn't create interest, spark curiosity, or offer a reason to continue the conversation. The listener hears a job title and tenure, but nothing that stands out. Research shows that 1/3 of adults form opinions within just 10 seconds of meeting someone. So a bland intro like this is often forgotten before the conversation even begins. Now listen to how Mark's introduction changes with the confident connection formula. "I prevent manufacturers from overpaying for equipment they don't need. Last quarter, my team saved a client $350,000 by analyzing their actual production volume. What's the biggest cost surprise you've seen in machinery?" This version immediately reframes Mark as a problem solver rather than just a job title. The specific dollar amount gives his value credibility, and the closing question opens the door for genuine dialogue. The difference is clear. The first version is a list of facts. The revised version uses a hook to capture interest, a value statement that demonstrates real impact, and a question that invites the listener to share their own experience. This approach taps into the primacy effect. What you say first shapes how you're remembered. It also leverages nonverbal cues. And research indicates that 76% of people notice a smile first, so pairing a value-led hook with positive body language makes your introduction even more memorable. Let's look at another example. Lisa is a freelance designer, and she might say, "I'm Lisa, a freelance designer. I do logos and websites. I graduated from SCAD." This tells you what she does, but not why it matters. With the framework, her introduction becomes, "I turn confusing brands into visual stories people remember. One redesign helped a bakery triple catering orders in 6 months. What's the toughest branding challenge you faced?" The listener now sees Lisa's impact and has an easy way to respond. Across roles and industries, this transformation relies on 3 research-backed principles. Replace job titles with outcomes, use clear and specific value statements, and invite conversation with a targeted question. Early impressions matter. 30% of interviewers make decisions about a candidate within the first 5 minutes, so starting strong is essential. And when you focus on what your listener needs and present your value clearly, you invite real connection instead of fading to the background. These small changes in your introduction can shift the entire conversation and open the door for opportunities that might otherwise pass you by. So mastering your introduction is about using the brief 30-second window to capture attention and communicate your value. Forming an opinion about someone can take less than 30 seconds, so every word and gesture counts. A well-structured introduction with a hook, a value statement, and a conversation starter can set you apart and encourage real engagement right from the start. So try this practical exercise. Record your introduction twice. Notice where you lose focus or miss your value statement. Refine your delivery until your message is clear and lands within the first 15 seconds. Again, remember, 35% of people believe that the first impressions are hard to change, so it's worth getting it right. People may forget your credentials, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Remember, we're looking for progress, not perfection. In the fall, I'll be launching a new course, The Confident Connection Formula, where I go in-depth and help you build a powerful introduction and give you the tools to modify it for any situation. That's all for today. Be sure to visit speakingwithconfidencepodcast.com to get your free ebook, Top 21 Challenges for Public Speakers and How to Overcome Them. You can also register for the Formula for Public Speaking course. Always remember, your voice has the power to change your world. We'll talk to you next time.